I've been a couples therapist for nearly a decade, and I've worked with some of my clients for years. So when it comes to love and relationships, I've guided my clients through it all, from giddy first dates to proposals and weddings to bitter and awful divorces. If you're at all curious about love and relationships and how to build a strong, healthy relationship that lasts for years, stick around because I am going to share my ideas and frameworks that have helped my clients for the best part of 10 years. Perhaps right now you are single or just started dating someone, or maybe you're even in a long-term relationship and wondering why things feel stuck. Either way, I tend to find with my clients that I can provide new and useful ways to think about love and relationships that we're just not taught. And I firmly believe that one of the main reasons why most relationships fail is that we don't get this education when we really need it, like in high school. So we generally don't learn how to do relationships, how to communicate effectively, or how to foster emotional intimacy. This is a lot of the work that I do in my therapy sessions. So to help me out, I'm going to share Sarah's story with you, a fictitious client that I've been seeing for many years. And through her story, I will show you how she moved from Bridget Jones-Styles dating disaster
I choose vodka and Chaka Khan
to a thriving long-term relationship. And by the end of this video, you'll understand love and relationships and the specific work that needs to happen at each stage in them. And if you stay until the end, I'll share with you a special resource that will help you apply these steps to your own relationships. So if we've not met before, my name is Oliver and I'm a couples or relationship therapist here in Los Angeles. And you should know before you get too invested in this video that I'm a bit of a nerd and generally can't make a YouTube video without a bit of theory, but I promise this one is super useful. In fact, just the other week, a couple I worked with had an incredible breakthrough when I showed them this first framework that I'm about to share with you. It was like a light bulb went off when they realized what was going on in their relationship and what they needed to do to repair it. So this is Robert Sternberg's triangular theory of love, and it's such a simple framework to understand a really complex thing that we call love. It breaks down love into three components: intimacy, commitment, and passion. And these elements combine in various ways to create different types of love experiences, from friendship to steamy affairs. It also explains why relationships change and fluctuate throughout the course of years or months. So intimacy is all about the feelings of closeness and connectedness you share with your partner. It's the deep sense of emotional bonding that comes from sharing and supporting and truly understanding each other. This emotional foundation is really what builds a strong and lasting relationship of any kind. Passion is the physical attraction and sexual desire that brings excitement to your relationship. It's that romantic spark, the intense emotions, the physical closeness that keep connection lively and engaging. And commitment is the decision to stick together for the long haul. It's the conscious choice you make to stay with your partner through both the good times and the bad. It demonstrates stability and durability of a relationship. So when I first met Sarah, she would come into sessions every so often and tell me about the latest guy she met on Bumble or Tinder or at a party even. She was totally giddy. She'd tell me how attractive he was and sometimes about how steamy things got. It was all about passion. And passion is totally appropriate for a new relationship. It's all attraction and lust. However, I noticed that Sarah's relationships usually didn't last very long. There was never any chance for commitment to develop, and that's because, for whatever reason, she didn't develop emotional intimacy. And that speaks to how crucial intimacy is for forming a deep emotional bond and understanding with your partner, which you need in order to make a commitment to stay in this long-lasting relationship. So I knew that I had to help her with emotional intimacy to move her from casual flings into an LTR. What Sarah was really wanting was what we call consummate love. It's the most complete form of love, encompassing full amounts of intimacy, passion, and commitment. It represents the ideal relationship where partners share an emotional bond, physical attraction, and a strong commitment to maintaining their relationship over time. So depending on the amounts of intimacy, passion, and commitment there are in a relationship, you have different types of relationships. So if you say hello to the person that delivers your Amazon packages every now and then, probably safe to assume that you have very little passion intimacy or commitment to them. They're an acquaintance. And you can put them in the middle of the triangle, which means that they have 0 of everything. But what about the relationship you have with your best friend? We'd call that companion love. You feel emotionally close to them, assuming you tell them what's going on in your life. There's probably an unspoken commitment to your friendship, but there's no passion or erotic charge to it. So that would be 2 sides of the triangle. If you're in a long-term relationship, you might also have this type of love. It's what happens when that initial passion has faded, but a strong supportive connection remains. That would be intimacy, as well as a commitment to stay together. Okay, so let's take a pause here and leave me a comment below to tell me about your current relationship. What % intimacy, what % passion, and what % commitment are you at right now in your relationship? If one or more of them is super low, then you know what it is that you have to work on. I told you this framework was helpful. This leads us nicely into the stages of a relationship. So let me break down the heart framework. And as I do, think about what stage you and your partner are in right now. So if you remember the first few weeks of a new relationship, the laughter, the butterflies in your stomach, those long romantic walks on the beach, that is the honeymoon stage. It's a time of rainbows and unicorns, butterflies in your stomach. It's all magical and wonderful. Passion is at its peak, and it's driven by intense emotions and physical attraction. This is where intimacy starts to develop as you share more about yourselves, and commitment begins to form as you explore whether you're compatible and want to stick it out. This was the stage that Sarah would talk a lot about, and we'll get to that in a minute. So next comes the equilibrium stage. That's when the initial anxiety or excitement and novelty begins to wear off. Things feel a little bit more stable. If you've noticed that you've suddenly got pet names for your partner, you might be at that stage. The passion has stabilized, but hopefully the emotional intimacy deepens as you share more about yourself. You become more comfortable with each other, more familiar, and you're talking more. And when you start talking about intimacy, commitment starts to grow. Open communication and sharing personal experiences can help deepen intimacy, and that leads to a desire to strengthen the commitment. For Sarah, though, this stage was a challenge. She met men that she found sexy and fun and was devastated when it didn't go anywhere. Over time, though, I was able to point out a pattern in which she was super attracted to men who struggled to let their guard down and be vulnerable with her. So emotional intimacy never developed. It took me quite a while to point out to Sarah that she was unconsciously attracted to unavailable men. And if this feels familiar to you, then you might have some soul searching to do there about why you're picking partners that aren't able to give you what you want. For Sarah, when she finally saw that she was repeatedly going after emotionally unavailable men, she was able to make different decisions about how invested she would get. Other clients I work with have a different problem in that they get super anxious about being vulnerable with someone they actually quite like, and they shut down the relationship out of fear and self-preservation. So we work on regulating that anxiety and that fear and proceed slowly. One of the ways that I help clients to slow down when they're dating someone that they like is to get them to ask themselves, do I like this person enough to go on one more date? That's really all dating is at first. It's a yes or no answer. And then after the next date, you do the next thing. Do you want to see them again? So now we're at the adjustment stage. And this is actually where most relationships end. When you're falling in love with someone, we have this really odd unconscious habit of only seeing the positives in the people we're dating. We're hyper-focused on finding the things that we have in common. But at this stage in the relationship, though, those rose-tinted glasses come off and the quirks and the bad habits that you've once overlooked become very apparent. It's at this point that passion can also fluctuate. Intimacy is tested as you reveal your true selves to each other. And commitment is the big question here. Are you in or are you out? Because at this stage, you need to decide whether you can tolerate your partner being different or not. If you try and change them, that is where conflict happens and someone leaves. So here are 3 questions you can ask yourself at this stage. Am I able to be my authentic self with my partner without fear of judgment or rejection? Do I feel comfortable sharing my thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities with them? Question 2. Fundamentally, are we compatible? Sexually, physically, emotionally, intellectually? If not, are we continuing to learn about each other and grow together in those ways? Is my partner interested in or willing to grow in those ways to at least meet me halfway? Question 3. Do we have similar values, goals, and aspirations? Do I feel confident and excited about building a life together, facing challenges, and celebrating success with this person? R is for reality. In this stage, you have accepted your partner's quirks and differences, and it means that your love has matured. Passion may be less intense, but is hopefully more stable and enduring. Intimacy is strong with a deep understanding and acceptance of each other. And commitment is solidified as you've decided to stay together despite being two very different people. Now is the time to move in together, or when you expect or want a proposal to happen. But also around this stage, passion can disappear, and we've got some different issues going on. So Sarah eventually met Mike, who sounded like a very sweet guy, who was apparently very sexy, actually able to talk about his feelings, but after a couple of years of dating, the sex disappeared and they fell into the dreaded roommate phase. For Sarah and Mike, the challenge was to reignite their passion while maintaining an emotional connection. They both got really busy in their careers and were in a routine, and the spark had just fizzled out. They needed to work actively on their relationship by planning date nights, exploring new activities together in and out of the bedroom, and also keeping communication open. For other couples, the opposite is true, and they are too close and spend too much time together, and there's no novelty or excitement. And if this is the case in your relationship, then I'd encourage you to do things separately. Get separate, go out with friends separately. You will feel so much better, more invigorated. Your relationship will feel more alive when you have new experiences to share and new things to talk about. And finally, there's the teamwork stage. You evolve into a team, focusing on building a meaningful life together, whether it's starting a family, creating a home, or engaging in community projects. It's a shared vision and future goals. Passion is balanced and integrated into the relationship that contributes to a fulfilling partnership. Intimacy needs to continuously be worked on, though, because it is so easy to stop talking about your feelings when you're familiar with someone. And commitment is unwavering because you've decided that you're in and you're working towards common goals and a shared future. At this phase, maintaining passion through new experiences and showing appreciation for each other can help keep the relationship super vibrant and strong. So once Sarah and Mike felt more passionate and excited about being in a partnership, they began planning their future together, and it came as no surprise that Mike proposed after some fancy trip to Europe together. So that is the journey of love and relationships that we go through, and it really is a journey and not a destination. The triangle of love and the heart framework, I think, are so useful to us at any point in a relationship because we can identify where we are and what is missing from our relationship at any point. So whether it's reigniting passion or fostering more emotional intimacy or strengthening commitment, the key is to always keep on working on your relationship no matter what stage you're in. And this framework helps us identify where it is that we have to look. So some of the best tools I have for couples are available for you to download in the 7-day Relationship Rescue Workshop. It takes you through the things you need in a relationship, like using I statements and active listening and understanding relationship boundaries, just to name a few. But if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you are interested in learning more about relationships, couples therapy, and how to grow great relationships.